Why do the British look down on Americans? Very curious to see what we're going to have in this video. Before we do get into this, appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button. Let's check this out.
How do you feel the British perceive Americans?
I feel like there's quite a lot of, I hate to say it, but mockery involved.
I think a lot of people think Americans are extreme.
Do you think that the British think that they're better than Americans?
I think some do, yeah.
There's a lot to make fun of, I think.
We're also fantastic at queuing as well. That's another great thing about us.
Rubbing me the wrong way because they're too extra. It doesn't seem like it's genuine.
Today, I'm in London.
Oh, yo, wait, these are just going like straight for it, bro.
To get to the bottom of a very important question. For as long as I can remember, I have had the sense that the British look down on Americans.
Right.
This is a generalization, and therefore doesn't apply to everyone.
Of
but
course.
It's a strong enough trend that I felt I needed to investigate this further. Here's a quote from Prince Harry's memoir.
Hey, yo, before we even get into this, bro, the people that's going to be saying that they're looking down on the Americans, man, they're going to have to just take a one big look in the mirror, bruh.
Are spare, that perfectly captures the feeling that I have about this. With some, the anti-American sentiment ran very hot. I was reminded of my childhood, when people warned me all the time about Americans.
Right.
Too loud,
Okay.
too rich, too happy, too confident, too direct, too honest.
Wait. Yo, that sentence right there just screams jealousy. You guys are too loud? Okay, confident, right? Wish we could be that confident. Too rich? Hey, boy, who doesn't want to be rich? Too happy? What are these bad things? Too confident, too direct, too honest. Okay.
Too happy, too confident,
Are these bad
too
things?
direct, too honest. I'm very curious what people are going to have to say about this. I have a feeling I'm onto something, okay?
Right.
So, having said that, let's start talking to some people. Shooting a video for YouTube. Could I ask you guys a question? This will be really brief. You hate it? Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be a common thing you see. You know how, like, you see people go up to Americans in America for, like, videos and stuff? They're so up for it. They're so down. Bro, I bet you any money, a lot of people in the UK be like, nah, I don't want to do that. Because, like, we just keep ourselves to ourselves, you know what I mean? And people don't really, like, engage with other people. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot of this.
Not that easy today, huh?
No, it's not.
Not in the UK.
Get a moment.
I've got too much
We're
time.
off to a very slow start.
See, this is what I'm saying.
Okay. Let's just change up the spot because I'm feeling like there's enough projections in that 100-meter radius.
Yo, this is why, like, bro, what I say about the UK, man, we're just boring and miserable, bro. I'm telling you, like, not everyone, obviously, but, like, in general.
You know, I always feel really terrible that everyone's first attitude is, oh, you're from America, are you? Oh, okay. You know, which is always you always feel a bit bad about that because I'm not entirely sure why we still do that, but, you know.
Oh, okay.
How do you feel perceived as Americans by the British here in London?
A big, stupid, bellowing oaf. Really? Yeah, genuinely. I always feel like I have to apologize for being Americans. Like, I know my accent's the worst thing you'll hear today, but can I just order a coffee?
My experience, I feel like, has been a little bit different. I think that might be somewhat informed by the fact that I'm a student here.
Okay.
At first, there was a bit of a learning curve. Like, when I would speak loudly on the tube, I would kind of get looks, and people would tell me, like, you're being American. Like, you're
Right.
not.
There's definitely sort of a sense that there is a lot of difficult things going on in America, and that America potentially could be quite a difficult place to live, especially if you're of colour or from the Middle East.
Right.
I have to admit.
So, yeah, they've been paying attention to a lot of the media, which the media does go crazy with that kind of stuff over here in the UK.
The inspiration to make this video came when I moved to Europe. As I've explored in previous videos on this channel, many Europeans have mixed to negative views of Americans as dumb and uncultured. But to my surprise, the same goes for the British. I've come to realize that the only people that see the British as intelligent and sophisticated are the Americans. Many Europeans, like the Portuguese or the Spanish, see a very different reality. The British, they go off on holiday to get extremely drunk and break things.
Okay, yo, I'm gonna tell you a treat. See, like, one of you guys actually told me to watch this so you get my British, like, opinion on this. And I'm gonna spit some facts right now, bro. Listen, you guys might not know this, but the Brits in Europe, because we go holidaying a lot in Europe, the Brits, they hate us. Not the Brits hate us, but Europeans hate us, bro. Like the Spanish, the French, the German. Bro, anywhere we go on holiday is just not really good because that's true. Like, we are... Bro, you know how, like, he's saying British people think Americans are dumb? Bro, we have so many Brits that go to those countries. and just make it a mess, be dumb over there, break things like you just said. They actually do haters over there, bro.
The British that are isolationist with Brexit. The British that don't learn foreign languages, that stick to their native tongue. Wait a second, I thought to myself. That's what Americans do. Other people do this as well?
How dare they copy us?
I kid, of course. Still, it does feel like the Brits act like the Americans of Europe, but I am certain that is not something that they'd like to hear said about them. I mean, no offense. I am American after all. Does that not prove my point, though? No.
You know what? I'm going to be honest right now, bro. Do you know what I really think it is? I think the people that are saying this kind of stuff for, like, looking down on Americans are probably just jealous that they're not in America themselves. You know what I mean? Because, like, bro, I'm going to be honest. I'm jealous I don't live in America. Do you know what I mean? I am actually jealous of you guys because you got better houses. Seem like you got better living. We watch all your movies, all your TV shows, all of this stuff. All the content is mainly like producing like America and stuff like that. There's so many content creators that I know that's in America and stuff. So like, yeah, it's just like you guys are just like a better version of us. You know what I mean? So, bro, it probably just boils down to a bit of jealousy, bro.
No one wants to stoop to the level of Americans. I felt I had to get my answers directly from the source.
This stupid
My
people
perception
everywhere.
is that the UK is 1 foot in Europe, 1 foot like in the Americas. It feels like it should be in the middle of the Atlantic. Do you agree with that?
I think that's a pretty conclusive idea.
That's
But,
actually
I think
true.
that's definitely true.
Yeah,
because a lot
that's
of people
actually
wouldn't
true.
Even class England as being in Europe. You know, even in England, when you talk about
That is actually perfect what you just said there. Like, UK should be smack bang in the middle of America and Europe. It really should. Because, like, obviously, we look up to and follow all your kind of, like, media and stuff like that. So,
going to Europe, no one ever thinks you mean Doncaster. They always think you mean Germany. You do get some perception that everyone's some sort of like a Valley girl accent or something like that. And I think that annoys people quite a lot. But then again, it's the same way that English people are often perceived as all sort of being from London. The American dream, making yourself better and being seen to be self-improving, and it's a lot about earning money and being the best you can and going to the gym and all these kind of
Do you
things.
think that's, are you saying it's positive or negative?
I think it's a positive thing for Americans, but I think the way it's perceived is often everyone goes, oh, get out of my face, you know, because they probably, no one likes to enjoy someone else's success, at least in England anyway.
bro, Joe, this is what I said in other videos, man. What I absolutely hate about this country, bro. What he just said, I'm so glad he just said this, bro. He just says, people in the UK don't like to enjoy other people's success. And it's so true, bro. Like, why in the UK? I love how you guys in America could do that, but why in the UK can we not share our success without it seeming like we're bragging? Do you know what I mean? Like, and also take a risk as well. We don't like to do it because we don't want to seem like failures. You know what I mean? So, bro, I love that about you guys and how you can do that. And yeah, bro.
Anyway, I think in America it's probably very different. Oh, great, you got a promotion. Fucking bastards, you know.
Yeah,
the
yo.
identity of being American is like such a thing.
Why do we do that in the UK, bro? Like, why don't we just enjoy each other's success? Like, I do. Not, yo, when I say, like, we in the UK, I don't mean everybody, obviously. I just mean, like, the, you know, the general people, like, maybe the majority. I don't know. But, like, when my friends do something well, I'm like, hell yeah, bro. Like, go for it.
Right.
Keep killing
I
it.
don't think other places have that as much.
I don't think people are necessarily dumb, and I don't think it's a question of being dumb. I think it's just that
there's
there's
dumb
this
people
idea
everywhere.
of, like, yeah, being the best. To think that, like, people in America, depending on where you're born, you can have access to care or not, it's frightening. And I don't know how you can speak about being the best when you can't even make sure that everybody's, like, taken care of. Are you treating everyone the same way in America? No, not everyone is treated the same way, just like not everyone is treated the same way in Europe.
Yo!
Having been to America a lot, they often...
Mate. Yo, she sounds like she's taking a one-trip flight to America and gonna run for, like, president or something.
ask, obviously as a joke, but just like, do you know the royal family or anything like that?
So do you feel that generally, this big generalization, there's mockery towards the Americans and Americans towards the British? It's more like cute. We think you're cute.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel about Americans thinking you're cute?
Well, it can be taken as a compliment, obviously, but if they think
You
that
guys
we're,
think
like,
we're
as
cute?
a country, not really a force to be reckoned with, then just because we do all these, like, things that date back to long before the US was established, it's not really relevant that they can mock us for that.
Is it condescending, would you say?
A little bit.
Or ignorant?
More ignorant. It's not. It doesn't, like, hurt me. You know?
How do you feel Americans perceive the British, first of all?
They kind of look down on us.
You feel that?
I feel like Americans think like they're on top of everything. And there's
Oh, wait, so now, okay, so Americans think the Brits look down on Americans, and now Americans think And now the British thinks that Americans are down in the Brit. Yo, you know what it is? We're just like two siblings. You know what I mean? We love each other, we argue with each other, and we protect each other. You know what I'm saying? Well, you guys got the bigger military, so mainly you guys protect us, but...
There's always competition between the two.
So do you feel like the British have a chip on their shoulder a little bit because of that?
Yeah, a lot.
What do you think the British are better at than Americans?
Being polite, really.
More polite?
Yeah. More talkative, more helpful.
More helpful? The British are more helpful?
Yeah, than Americans.
Oh, damn!
But Americans are nice, they're funny, got good music.
Yo, that is interesting because every video I've seen of Brits going to America, they always say they're shocked by how nice and friendly everyone is over there. So it's the total opposite. We're not, I don't think we're better at being nicer. No, I don't think we are.
Got good music, okay. Well, the British have good music too, man.
Americans are taking over the music scene.
But I mean, come on, there's a lot of great British music. So
Yeah,
here's the
there
thing
is
that I
good
think
British
is going
music.
on here.
There
We
is.
are not the same, the Brits and the Americans, but we sure have a lot of similarities. Compare us to the Japanese or to Native Americans or to Ethiopians, and the differences between Americans and the British seems relatively small. We're like blood siblings in the village that is the globe. So here's what all of this started to make me think of. There's a concept in psychoanalysis, I'm going to read you the definition, but it's called the narcissism of small differences. This comes from Freud. The narcissism of small differences is the idea that the more a relationship or community shares commonalities, the more likely the people in it are to engage in interpersonal feuds and mutual ridicule because of hypersensitivity to minor differences perceived in each other. We see this all over the world, between the Argentinians and the Chileans, for example, between the French and the Belgians. And indeed, I think this is what is happening between the Brits and the Americans. But at the end of the day, I feel like we make the little things that make us different much bigger than they really are.
The way that we speak and the words that we use.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking about this, weren't we?
Yeah.
About
we were
certain
talking
words.
about things like autumn versus fall.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, yo, like, I've always said this, though. For as long as you know me, right? I'm listening to these British talk, and I really wish I had an American accent, bro, because is this really how I sound, like, to you guys? I hate it, bro. I hate it. You guys will come into my stream because we do movie nights on twitch.tv/L3WG. Make sure you go check that out. It's amazing. Every night. Not every night. Not every night. But the past week we did it every night. But yo, like, every time I like put on like a British movie, you guys will recommend British movies. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to listen to it though.
And it's like, that's often something that people like bring up. And for some, well, it's because it's a simpler word. And it's like, oh, fall. American.
You guys don't say
classic.
fall?
No, we don't say fall. We
Oh,
say
interesting.
autumn.
Okay.
We say autumn, yeah.
Autumn. Not fall.
But you
Then again, I say fall.
All right, before we go any further,
I say fall
I
instead of
quickly
autumn
thank
now.
the sponsor of this video, BetterHelp, whose support has
Yo,
made
but
it
so
possible
far,
for me
this
to
is a
take
good video,
video
man.
with the person when and
It is
to
good.
Tradition to me, /% off BetterHelp.
Right,
Thank
where
you,
is
Better.
it?
I had the impression, UK.
There we
I had
go.
the impression, and now let's dive back in. Personally, when I come to the UK, I have the impression that I've come halfway across the Atlantic, not just off the coast of continental Europe. And by that I mean, culturally, it feels so much more similar to the life that I had in the US. The convenience of life, the speed, the capitalism, the language.
Everyone speaks English.
I bet the weather and the looks don't seem like the US, so bro, I bet it's more like miserable or grumpy.
Everyone's like got the same sort of core values. I'm not necessarily a big Christian person at all, but we all come from this like Christian-based countries. America and Australia are English. There's some things that happen in history, but at the end of the day, we're kind of all the same group of people in that regard.
Culturally influenced.
Culturally influenced by the same group. So I personally don't see many differences at all.
I mean, I've got wonderful American friends who I adore. So that question for me is a difficult one because I think they're great, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the differences in the way our language is, in the way we use different words, that's where there's a difference.
So pretty minor.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes some of the British media or the portion of the British population that looks down on Americans, is it a way to deflect some of the issues that exist here? And could that be said of all societies?
Yeah, you can say that of all societies, but you can also say that about the media. They're always
You know what? I don't know if it's because me personally, I'm a little bit jealous, right? But I think I would boil it down to jealousy. I really do. I really do. There's two countries I feel like British people are jealous that they don't live at. And that is Australia and America. I really think it does come down to that. A lot of people from the UK actually do move to Australia. They really do. It's like an upgraded UK. If you avoid all the animals that try and kill you. But yo, me personally, I would, yeah, I'd like to live in America. If I could like move all my family over there, I would in a heartbeat.
Distracting, aren't they, from topics, whatever it is?
America's seen as very alpha male. If you think about it in terms of masculine and feminine, there's an alpha maleness to Americans.
Okay.
And maybe it's just the way they speak, the accent, but you don't really have that sense of Britain. I think there's a stereotype of the repressed male, that soft-spoken.
Considering we're like right on the edge of Europe, we have more in common with America in many ways than we do with the rest of Europe, which in theory is where we should be more aligned. And I think there's sort of something that can feel sort of slightly odd about that, you know, like with the whole Brexit thing, breaking away more from where we're most closely connected to and sort of being in a situation where, you know, we're going to end up with chlorinated chicken instead.
There's this tendency to think of Americans as just, you know, they're simplistic, really.
Are you, like, annoyed by the Americans here in
Sometimes.
I wouldn't say.
Depends how they.
Hey, yo, she just don't like America, bro. Bro, how can anyone be annoyed that there's just people from a country there? I would never understand that, bro. Like, not even just Americans, but anyone. Why would that affect you in any way?
By the Americans here in
Sometimes.
I wouldn't say.
Depends how they are.
Now, the interesting thing is, I love to drag the U.S. through the mud and criticize it for all the things that I think it deserves criticism for. But the second the Brits start criticizing me or the U.S., you have nothing to say. Kind of like, I can criticize where I grew up, but you aren't allowed to. And the British, in my opinion, are doing their version of the same thing, criticizing themselves to no end, but no one wants an outside opinion. Maybe we all do this. I think we all do this. It's like pointing at someone else's flooding house when your own house is on fire.
So I lived in America for 6 years. I lived in California, Alabama, and Oklahoma for 3 years. Everyone hears my accent and is like, oh, where in America are you from? I'm like, bro, I'm actually from Australia, but then they give me their little opinions on American stuff. So I've actually had to play.
Wait, people think he's from America? Bro, you can tell his accent's Australian.
From Australia, but then they give me their little opinions.
Then again, it does have a bit of like a twist
on American stuff. So I've actually had to play defense a couple times since I've been out here.
But that sentence right there, that is like pure Australian, mate.
Are you serious? I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Because they talk about guns or they talk about this, but they don't have like a very
it's
good
a bit of a
understanding,
mix.
not just English people, just people around the world, even in Australia, of the history of America and why those things became what they were. People trying to, you know, throw rocks and then hide their hands.
Yeah.
They don't want the blame to be on them, so it's easy to put it on the big superpower that is on everyone's TV.
My perception is I don't consider Americans necessarily lesser in terms of like lifestyle, culture per se. I just think it's a bit more apparent than it is in the UK, but the UK is just as problematic.
There's always sort of a sense in the past that like America was sort of, you know, 2 decades ahead of what was happening in this country. There is a sense that we're getting closer in a time frame.
I would say younger generations tend to be a bit more, and the only word I can think of it is shameful of the heritage. I think it's a lot of things from like colonialization and things like that. There tends to be a lot more shame around it.
We're a small island, right? So we've got a small island mentality, but because we've got a small island...
Wait, what is a small island mentality?
We've got to overcome it by kind of that impression that we're the best. And I think that's changing, though. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a total reflection of society now, but I think historically it has been, of course. Let's flip the question.
Yo, I don't know, bro. As a Brit living in Britain, and the people that I speak to, like friends, family, if they had the option to move, I think they would move. I feel like more people just not liking the UK. That being the weather, that being things to do, that being, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, like, sure,
How
mate.
are Americans perceiving the British?
My answer to that is there is a power dynamic going on. And for better or for worse, the U.S. is much more of a world superpower right now.
Of course.
So I don't think that the U.S. feels threatened necessarily, like competitive with Great Britain. Because of that, I think there's kind of like a...
Yo, in no way. Wait. How would we even compete with America? Maybe if we're talking about football, soccer, then sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got the bad team for football, soccer. But that's about it.
necessarily like competitive with Great Britain. Because of that, I think there's kind of like a, they're cute, you know what I mean? Like they're Harry Potter and James Bond and sophisticated and, you know.
Use words like autumn.
Exactly. But I also think that there's also a major degree of ignorance. Like the US is so self-involved. We're not even paying attention to what's going on elsewhere in the world. So there's not even enough to form an opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, this video was definitely supposed to be in good fun. I harbor no ill will towards the British. I find our rivalries as human beings across cultures, across nations, to be comical and interesting. It's like an insight into human psychology.
Yo, it's just like sibling love. And if it's anything more than that, like if you're British and you truly hate like Americans for some stupid reason, or vice versa, you're American, you truly hate British, it's just a dumb thing, you know what I mean? It's an absolute just dumb thing. We're just like, the ones that are doing this, I would like to think it's just like siblings arguing, you know what I mean?
Despite all of the, you know, criticizing going on here, I'd like to end on a positive note. I'd like to express my appreciation for a few things that I think the British do better than Americans. Your healthcare system, for one. Also, the Premier League. They say...
Actually, listen, the healthcare can be its own entire video, right? But healthcare is always good as it's free for people that can't afford, you know, otherwise. But I've told you guys my experience before where like I went public and I was waiting for like a year and a bit for an appointment. I decided to do it private and got an appointment in a couple of weeks. And I'm so glad I did go private. It was for my eye and I was panicking about it. But yo, the wait times are just, yeah. Bro, I could go into a whole different video about that, man.
Also, the Premier League. They say football was invented in England, and if that is true, as someone with Argentinian background, I can only thank you.
Soccer is
I
very
also
big.
Have to thank you for your incredible music. What a contribution to our collective heritage.
Yeah, we definitely do have big fans.
It is a foreign idea to me to have a royal family, but I respect the commitment to tradition.
But I did move here the week that the Queen died, so it was really interesting to see. I think my first impression of like the British as a public was that of like mourning for their queen, you know, the 14-hour-long line to go see her lying in state. So I think it was a little bit of a shock. This might sound silly, but how procedural the British can be. I noticed that that tends to be like every British person I've met tends to be very procedural, as opposed to Americans. I think.
Wait, what does that mean? She said every single British person she met is procedural. What does that mean?
Like every British person I've met.
What does that mean? Hey Siri, what does procedural mean?
As an adjective, procedural means relating to an established or official way of doing something. Do you want to hear the remaining one?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably not it though.
Tends to be very procedural, as opposed to Americans. I think are a little bit more, like, dare I say, free-spirited or individualistic. Okay. So, I mean, I think that's not to say that one is better than the other.
And as a final note, we are obviously a world of individuals, and so stereotypes never fully work. Still, I find...
Yo, stereotypes have always just been fun and games, though. You know how, like, the Brits would say that Americans are fat and the Americans would say the British got bad teeth. But listen, bro, there's people in every country with bad teeth and good teeth and both fat and not fat. You know what I'm saying? Bro, the obesity levels... The Britain is on par with America.
It's so fascinating to explore the stereotypes and cliches that we have for one another. Not always, but often there is some sort of basis of truth there. Or else, they wouldn't spread and persist as they do. Anyway, having said all of that, I hope you enjoyed this video.
That was interesting, though.
Please consider liking it, which tells the...
Very, very, very interesting video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my British take on why did the British look down on Americans. Some of those people that was actually, like, talking was just... Yeah, I don't even know what they was on about. That one girl sounds like she just absolutely hated America, mate. Yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy that, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you thumbs up, subscribe for more content. Live every single day on twitch.tv/Elfred. If you guys want to check me out over there, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.